You're gonna lie on your back and put your feet flat on the floor. And your knees are about hip width distance apart. Your feet's the same thing. Your heels can be up, not too close to your hips, but not too far away. You want them just so they're almost underneath your knees. And your shoulders are going to be nice and relaxed. And let's just take a second to reach through your fingertips to kind of lengthen through the neck here. So just reach your fingertips towards your heels. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And then you can let those shoulders relax. And then you can scrunch your shoulders all the way up to your ears. So we put some tension there and then we let it go. So just take those shoulders away from your ears. We're going to again start with a pelvic tilt motion. So you'll start by pressing your back. As you inhale, you'll press your back into the mat, and as you exhale, you'll roll that tailbone forward. And then inhale, press your back into the mat. Exhale, roll that tailbone forward. Inhale, pressing your back in. Exhale, send that tailbone forward. Let's do a few more like that. See if you can do this all with that belly muscle. Try to not let your legs participate or your glute muscles or anything else. It's just that band of abdominal muscle around your belly button that's going to help you press that back into the mat and then send that tailbone forward. One more like that. Good. And then tailbone forward. And then we're going to settle back into that neutral spine, which is not pressed into the mat and it's not tilted all the way forward. It's a little bit in between there. So there's a lightness underneath your lower back. So keeping that lightness there, we're going to keep that neutral spine, and we're just going to, as you inhale, bring your right knee up to tabletop, and then exhale, put it back down. Inhale, bring your left knee up. Exhale, send it down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Seeing if you can keep your hips as still as possible. Inhale up. Exhale down. So notice if you have a lot of side saddling movement, try to use your abdominal muscles to keep your hips nice and steady as you lift that knee. One more on each side here. Should feel fairly easy, but you might notice that one side feels harder to pull up than the other. Now we're going to bring that right knee up to tabletop and leave it there. Bring your left knee up to tabletop. And then from here, again, keeping that neutral spine, so there's a little bit of a lightness there. We're not pressing your back in and rounding out your back, and you're not tilted all the way forward. It's kind of in between there. Hands are down by your side. You're going to exhale, send those toes down towards the floor. Inhale, bring them back. Exhale, send your left foot down towards the floor. Inhale, bring it back. Good. You're going to feel those belly muscles working pretty hard to keep you nice and stable as you send that leg forward. If it feels if it feels too challenging, you can just come halfway down. You don't need to touch all the way down to the mat. You can come halfway down and then bring that knee back up. That's a possibility. Or you could, if it doesn't feel challenging enough, you could reach a little farther forward instead of just below you. As you send that leg forward, reach a little bit more in front of where your foot would naturally fall. Keep breathing. One more on each side. Excellent. Good. And now let's put that right foot down and then your left foot down, and you can hug your knees to your chest. Give your back a little stretch. You can roll side to side there for a little bit. Great. And then we're going to come back into that tabletop position. Actually, no, let's put one foot down and then the other. And we're going to try the book openings, what we call book openings, where in that neutral position, you're going to just slowly lower that right knee out to the side, then bring it back up. Exhale, bring that left knee down to the side. Inhale, bring it back up. Right knee down. Right knee back up. Left knee down. Left knee back up. Let's pause there. We're going to take your right knee to tabletop, your left knee to tabletop. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to have our feet up in the air. If this feels too hard on your back, just go right back down to keeping your feet on the floor and dropping one knee out to the side. But here, we're going to try starting in tabletop, and gently as you exhale, lower that right leg, the right knee out to the side. Inhale, bring it back. Lower that left knee out to the side. Inhale, bring it back. So this is a little trickier without the feeling of your foot on the floor. You don't have as much to guide you, so those ab muscles have to be a little bit more organized. Excellent. One more to each side. And then we'll put your right foot down and then your left foot down. And let's do a few little pelvic curls here to let those ab muscles relax and stretch that back a little bit. And from here, we're going to bring your arms up over your chest. And again, we're going to keep that neutral spine position. And as you inhale, you'll bring that right knee up to tabletop and then put it back down. Inhale, left knee up to tabletop and then put it back down. Inhale, right knee up. Exhale, put it down. Inhale, left knee up. Exhale, put it down. Those probably felt kind of easy. If that feels like a big enough challenge, you can stay there. Otherwise, let's take that right knee to tabletop. Keep it there. Bring your left knee to tabletop. And we'll do toe touchdowns now, starting from the tabletop position. Arms are above your chest. So as you exhale, you'll bring that right foot down to the mat. Bring it back up. Exhale, left leg down. We did do this before, but now we have arms overhead because we're going to add a little bit something else to this in a second. Let's do one more on the right side. Exhale down, inhale back up. Left side, exhale down, inhale back up. This time we're going to go opposite arm and opposite leg. So as I drop that right knee down towards the floor, my right foot down towards the floor, my left arm is going to go over my head. Then I'm going to bring them back both to the middle. So exhale, reach your right arm over your head, your left foot down. Bring it back over. Exhale, right foot down, left arm back. Same thing on the other side. One more on each side here. Good. Excellent. Let's put your right foot down and then your left foot. We'll take a little pause here. The next one we're going to do is a little bit similar, but a little bit different. We're going to keep those arms above your chest. So we'll take those arms above your chest, one knee to tabletop and then the other. We're going to take both arms over our head and at the same time reach forward with our right leg. So inhale, arms overhead, right leg extended. Exhale, bring everything back. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, bring everything back to the middle. So arms go overhead as your right leg extended. See if you can keep your foot in a flexed position, which is different than pointed. You'll feel. You're going to reach through those hamstring muscles as you flex that foot. Excellent. Two more on each side. So we'll reach with that right foot, bring it back to tabletop. Reach with the left foot, back to tabletop. One more on each side. Reach. Make sure you're breathing. Great. Then you can put one foot down and then the other. And we're going to do some, what we call the single leg stretch here. So we're going to start by bringing, again, one knee up to tabletop and then the other. And the grip, the hand pattern here is to take your outside arm, your right arm on your right leg is going to be halfway down your shin or your calf. Your left hand is going to be on the inside of your knee. So first what we're going to do is exhale, bring your head, neck, and shoulders up. And we're going to straighten that left leg while we have that grip on the right one. Then we're going to change legs and we're going to take the left arm to the outside of the left leg, right hand to the inside, straighten that right leg. So as we switch, the arms change as well. The outside arm is always going to halfway down the calf. The inside arm is going to the inside of the knee. Make sure you're breathing here. 2 more. Here's 1, and here's 2. Good. You can lie back, hug your knees to your chest. So if there's a single leg stretch, there's also a thing called a double leg stretch, and that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to start in this position where you're holding onto your knees, and you can either, if that feels too intense on your neck, you can just leave your head right where it is. And if you are looking for an extra challenge, you can bring your head, neck, and shoulders up to do the double leg stretch, and I'll show you what that looks like. So starting with hands on both knees, exhale, bring up head, neck, and shoulders, or leave them down. As you inhale, you're going to reach your arms up and over, and then point those toes as you extend your legs. Exhale, bring it all back together. So you'll reach up with those arms and out with those legs, and then bring them back together. Sorry, it's an exhale to go out and an inhale to come back in. If your neck starts to bother you, you can always bring that head back down and do the same thing. 2 more. Exhale out, inhale, bring it all back together. Uh-oh, I lost count. Great. So we'll put one foot down and then the other. And I realize that I'm banging into my wall here, so I'm going to move my hat up a little bit. Great. So from here, let's roll onto our stomachs here, actually onto what we call the quadruped position. And we're going to be on hands and knees. And your hands are going to be right below your shoulders, and your knees are going to be right below your hips. So take a second to make sure that's where you're positioned. And you're going to have a softness in your elbows. There's a tendency here to kind of lock your elbows out, but I want you to keep them soft so that those muscles have to engage. So in this quadruped position, we're going to do some cat and cow stretches, which you might do in yoga. You're going to first let your belly hang down towards the floor. And then as you inhale, you're going to arch that back, and your head will drop a little bit. As you exhale and your belly comes down towards the mat, your head comes up. Inhale, arch through your lower back, your whole back. Head comes down. Exhale. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, let your belly sag down. One more time through. So arching. And then letting that belly come down. So it should feel like a nice stretch. And so we talked about neutral spine when we were lying on our back. It's the same thing here. We don't want to be all the way with a sunken in lower back, nor do we want to be in an arched position. We want to have that nice neutral position, which is that nice little curve that naturally occurs in our lumbar spine. We want to hold the integrity of that curve in our spine as we do these exercises. So the first one we're going to do is going to be to reach just your left arm forward and then bring it back. And then reach your right arm forward, then bring it back underneath you. This should feel fairly easy, but just check in with your balance and see if it feels easier or harder to lift one arm, or if you notice that one part of your hips are bothering you, your knees or something, just kind of take note. One more on each side with those arms. Right arm out, put it back. Left arm out, put it back. Now we're going to do the same thing with just our legs. So arms are going to stay right underneath our shoulders. And as we exhale, we're going to send one leg back with a pointed toe, and then bring that knee back underneath you. Exhale, bring the other leg out to an extended position with a pointed toe. Inhale, bring it back underneath you. Exhale, reach. Inhale, come back underneath. Exhale, reach. Inhale, bring it back underneath you. One more on each side. Exhale, reach. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, reach. Inhale, bring it back. And from here, we're gonna add in the arms and the legs at the same time. So we're gonna reach forward with our right arm and reach back with our left leg. This is a balance challenge. So then we'll bring that back. Exhale, reach with that left arm and your right toes pointed as you extend that right leg. Inhale, bring them back. Try to stay as still as you can. You might feel wobbly, that's okay too. Just take note of that. One side might feel better than the other. And that's due to hip flexibility, hip organization. One hip just might not be as strong as the other. Because you can see when I'm reaching forward and I'm just still on this left knee, that this left hip is really helping to keep me stable. So if there's a little bit of weakness in that left hip, you might feel a little wobbly on that side. All right, we're gonna try this challenge like we did last week. I think it was last week. When we're gonna try the same side, arm and leg. So you're gonna reach forward with your left arm and back with your left leg. There's a tendency to kind of open up here. We're not gonna do that quite yet, but I want you to try to keep that left hip down if you can. Ooh, this is a hard one. Good, then bring the back underneath you. Same thing on the other side. Right arm forward and left leg back. Bring it back underneath you. Left arm forward, left leg back. And don't forget to breathe. It's especially important on this one because people get a little nervous, so they start to hold their breath. One more on each side. Reaching back, pointing those toes, reaching forward through those fingertips. Bring them back underneath you. Last side. Awesome. All right, so from here, we're gonna go back down to the mat and we're gonna do some bridging. So let's lie on your back and we're gonna start with those feet fairly close to your hips. Well, actually, let's just think about keeping them right below your knees. Your knees are about hip distance apart, and same with your feet. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your hands are palms down, facing the, palm down, palms facing the floor. And you can add a little pressure into your hands when we do this bridge up. It does help. So from here, we're gonna do some, we're gonna do a little bit of spinal flexibility here as we're gonna start with that pelvic tilt where we press your back into the mat. And then we're slowly gonna peel that spine up off the mat. So the lower spine goes first, then the middle, and then the upper spine is gonna go up top. You're gonna feel that in your hamstrings probably, in your glutes. Same thing on the way back, we're gonna articulate that spine slowly on the way down, go to the middle spine, then the lower spine, and finish with rolling forward of that pelvis. And then from here, you'll press your back again into the mat, slowly lift that lower spine, and then the middle spine, and then the upper spine up off the mat. And then at the top, you can inhale, and on the exhale, we're gonna slowly put that spine down, one vertebra at a time, it's gonna feel like, and then roll forward. A few more like this. So we'll reach your hips up. At the top, take a nice inhale. On the exhale, that's gonna help you really put those spine down, the vertebrae down as you come down. So inhale at the bottom, exhale, lift up with your hips. Get to the very top there, take another inhale, exhale your way back down. Excellent. This time we're gonna go up, so we'll articulate up. We'll get up there, and when we get there, we're gonna dip the right hip down towards the floor, and then bring it back up. And then dip the left side down, and then bring it back up. So dip that right side down, lift it up. Dip the left side down, lift it up. One more on each side. Good, and then we'll articulate our way back down to the mat. Those are tricky. We want to gain control over that pelvis, and doing that motion when we're up in that bridge and trying to control the left and the right hip individually is definitely challenging. So similarly, we're going to try some one-legged bridges. So this is where we smoke out which hip is maybe not quite as strong as the other one. So let's just bring those hips right up into the air. And when we get up there, we're going to inhale, bring that right knee towards your chest. And then we're going to just go up and down with that left leg. Left leg doing all the work. Take note of how this feels on the left side, because then we're going to do the right side. 2 more. So there's 1, and there's 2. Good. You'll come back down. I'm going to get a little drink of water here. Great. This time we're going to do your right leg down. So first we'll bridge your hips up. Keep that right leg down. Lift your left knee to tabletop, and we're going to go up and down with just that right leg. Holy cow, this is hard. This is definitely my harder side. So it feels a little tricky. Keep breathing. 2 more. 1 and 2. Excellent. Then you can come back down from there. And from here, let's hug those knees to your chest for a nice little stretch. And if you, while you're doing that, I'm going to say that if you do have a TheraBand or a Pilates circle, somehow my band disappeared. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. All right, I found a band. So if you have a band, that's great, a TheraBand, or a Pilates circle, or honestly even a towel or something. As you lie down, we're going to loop that around the ball of your foot there. If you don't have any of those things, you can just use your hands on the backs of your thigh. And let's make sure, so we're going to start on that right leg. Let's keep that left leg flat down on the floor. Sometimes you can feel like with that left knee bent, oh wow, I'm so flexible, but that's because that left knee is lifted. So straighten that left leg. And while you have that towel or that TheraBand or something around the ball of your foot, we're going to try to get to a straight leg. I can see in the video that my leg is not very straight. That's something I'm always working on. And we're going to try some pointing and flexing with that band around the ball of your foot. Fully stretch on your calf or hamstring. Trying to get to a straight leg there. Great. If you don't have that TheraBand around the ball of your foot, you can just do those presses, pointing and flexing without the band. And now we're going to do some ankle circles. So ankle circles with the TheraBand or without. So this is what it looks like with the TheraBand. Without the TheraBand, you're going to hold that back of your leg and do some ankle circles there. What the TheraBand does is give a nice little bit of resistance, so you can feel those muscles in your lower leg working as switch directions on those circles. Excellent. And now, special treat, you're going to spell your name with your foot. So you're going to draw, I'm going to draw a K with my ankle, like my ankle muscles are doing all the work here. Then I'm going to draw an A, cross it over, and then a Y. Feels really weird on those muscles in your lower leg, but that's good. That's what we like. So from here, and again, I see that my leg is not very straight. We're going to let that leg come out to the side. You can use that other hand, your right hand, to help support that right leg if you want. Should feel like a nice stretch through your inner thigh there. And then inhale, bring that leg up, and we're going to come over the other side, bonk into the wall. And you can try, let's start by keeping this right hip on the floor. You don't have to come over very far across your leg to feel that stretch with that hip down. And then from there, you'll come all the way across against the wall. So you can't quite see that, but I'm going to move out a little bit so you can let that leg really drop over and lift that right hip up over the over your left one or off the mat. Good, and then we'll come back up to the middle and we'll switch legs. Again, either holding the back of your thigh and straightening that leg, or if you do have a TheraBand or a towel, put it around the ball of your foot. And from here, let's do some pointing and flexing. Oh, my left leg does not like this very much, so you might find that one side is easier, harder. That's okay, that's why we're here. Figure those things out and know more about your body. Good, and then we'll do some circles. Circles with your foot, with your ankle. 2 more in that direction and then switch. Excellent. And then now, as an extra special treat, we're going to spell the word spring with your foot. So just moving that ankle in an S shape, and then a P shape, as if you were drawing on the ceiling with some paint on your toes. And then I'm going with the R here. Doesn't need to be perfect, so that's okay. And then an N, up and down and up, and then a G. Yay for spring. All right, and then we're going to take that left leg out to the left and let that. Try to keep that right hip heavy as you let that left leg extend out. So nice and big stretch on the inner thigh there. And then we'll keep that left hip heavy on the mat as you take that left leg across a little bit, because you want to keep that left hip down, so you're not going to go very far across your midline. And you'll feel a good stretch there. If it's feeling painful on the back of your knee, you can always bend your knee and then you'll get into that hip stretch a little bit more. And then you can allow that hip to come up off the mat and bring it all the way over. Remember to keep breathing here. It's easy to forget that, but we'll let that leg come over. Good, and then you can bring it back up over the middle. And then from here, we're going to come up to sitting. And we'll give our hips a little break here. We're going to do some mermaid stretching. We're going to put your legs in a Z sit position, where both feet are facing that way. You can see my knees are up, but then I drop them down, and it's in a Z sitting formation. So in this position, we'll relax your arms. This hip may not feel very comfortable. If your knees are not liking this so much, you can let them come out. Or you can have your feet out a little bit more. If it feels okay, you can tuck your feet under you a little bit more. And in this Z sitting position, or mermaid position, we call it in Pilates, you're going to take that with your feet pointing to the left. You're going to take your right hand on the mat, and we're going to take that left arm up and over. So we do some side bending here. And then you bring that left arm back. Inhale, bring that left arm up. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, bring it up. And you'll notice that when I come up with that left arm, my right shoulder comes down a little bit. My elbow bends. Good, and this time, as you come up, twist through your upper back to bring that hand to the mat, so that you're going to feel that nice stretch through your waist. You might feel that through your leg and in your knee. And we'll stay there for a minute or two. No, not a minute or two. That's way too long. About another 10 seconds or so. This is a rotational stretch on your spine. And we're also doing side bending of your spine. In Pilates, we're trying to bend that spine. Good, you can inhale that arm back over. And then we'll take your right arm towards both feet. We're trying to bend your spine and get flexibility in your spine in all directions. So forward, flexion, extension, and back, and then side to side, and also rotation. Good. And then from here, we're going to flip your knees so that your feet are now off to the right. And you might notice that this hip is a little tighter, or maybe even a little bit looser. This one's a little funky on me, so I can't quite sit my hip down as much as I could going the other way. But then we're gonna take that left hand and put it down to the mat. And then right hand up and over into a side bend. Two more like that. So inhale, bring that arm up. Exhale, bring it down. This time as you inhale that arm up, we're gonna twist through your upper back and bring that hand all the way down to the mat and stay in this position for 10 seconds or so. Keep breathing. If it feels like a big stretch, you can always bring your feet out a little bit more. If it feels like a stretch that's challenging, just make sure you're breathing through it, and the breath will really help you. So inhale, exhale. One more time on the inhale and the exhale. Then we'll take that right arm back, put it near your feet, and then we'll take that left arm and we'll again try to side bend a little bit towards your feet. This is a big stretch, so if that doesn't feel good, you can just do it a little bit, and then we'll come out of there. Great. So with our hips all nice and stretched, we are going to try a little bit different side lying leg work today. We have been doing it where we've been lying on our side and doing it that way. Today, special treat, we're going to have your hand on the mat. If this feels too much and with your knees right there, you can also go to your elbow and do it this way. Either way, I'm going to go up on my hand here. And if either of those don't feel good, you can always go back down to lying on your side. We're actually going to do the same routine, but just in a different position. So you can either be lying all the way down, you could be on your elbow and on your knees there, or you could be on your hand and on your knees. So pick which position you're gonna have here. I'm gonna be up on my hand. If I'm up on my hand or my shoulder, make sure that I'm not slouched into my shoulder. I wanna have nice, good shoulder integrity so it's up away from there, you're not sagging into it. And from this position, we're gonna straighten that leg with your foot parallel to the floor, and we're gonna raise and lower that leg. Woo, this is hard. Excellent. I'm gonna do two more like that. There's one and there's two. Now we'll pause for a second and you can lift that leg again, and we're gonna try circles. Might feel like rectangles, might feel like triangles. Two more in that direction, and then we're gonna switch and go the other way. If you start to feel this in your shoulder or your wrist, remember you can always go back down to lying on the mat. No one can see you, it's totally fine. Good, and then we'll pause. I'm gonna re-grip myself here. And for the last one, we're gonna straighten that leg again, and we're gonna go forward with that leg, and then back behind you. Keep your body in a straight line so that you're not bending at the waist. So I'm trying to keep my upper body nice and straight. Two more like this. One and two. Good. And then you can come down from there. What we'll do is take that knee, the right knee, the one that we were just kneeling on, and we'll hug it towards your chest for a little stretch here. That is really tough on that hip. That's actually stabilizing you. So that's a really good workout on that hip. We're gonna go to the other side. We don't want anybody to be lopsided here. So we'll be on, again, either that elbow or your hand, and then your left knee, and then we're gonna straighten that leg. That position right here. And we'll start with raising and lowering that right leg. This is major hip work. So again, this hip probably the hip that's down on the knee is probably feeling it, as well as the one that's lifting. Good. We'll pause there. We're gonna come into that circle position. So we'll have that leg lifted up a little bit, and we're gonna try circles. 5 or 6 in one direction is good. You can bring that arm up in the air, you can keep it on your hip. Let's switch switch directions with that leg. 2 more. Good. And the last one we'll do is the coming forward. So we lift that leg up first a few inches off the mat, we come forward and then back behind you. Forward and back. Exhale, reach forward, inhale, bring it back. Awesome, 2 more. There's 1 and 2. Great. And then we'll sit and hug that left knee to your chest. That is a major hip workout. Good work on that one. Excellent. So from here, let's go into, let's see. Let's come back down onto your stomach. So we'll go lying with your chin in your hands. And with your chin in your hands, we're going to reach through your toes, unless your feet are cramping. If your feet are cramping, you can go to flexed feet like this. But we'll try with starting with pointed toes. Your chin is going to be in your hand. And I want you to really think about keeping your spine really long. So as if someone had a string off the top of your head and was pulling your head that way towards the wall, and then you're going to really point your toes so you stay really long in your legs. Your chin is going to stay in your hands and down. And as we exhale, we're going to lift those legs up, pointing through our toes, and then inhale, bring them down. Exhale, lift them up. Inhale, come back down. Actually, let's switch that breathing. Let's inhale them up and exhale them down. Inhale them up and exhale them down. All right, now we're going to get a little crazy. After we inhale and bring them up, we're going to kick our legs. So inhale, bring those legs up, and then quick little breathing pattern. Inhale, exhale, as you raise and lower each leg as if you were flutter kicking in the pool. Good, 3, 2, and 1. Good, and then bring those legs down. And from here, we're going to add in the arms. So we're going to reach those arms out above your head and reaching through those fingertips, just like we're reaching through your toes. On the inhale, we're going to lift up your head, neck, and shoulders, and both arms and both legs, and then your palms will face each other. As your palms go up and down, your legs are going to go up and down. So we're doing what we call Pilates Swimming. Few more here. 3, 2, and 1. Bring everything back down to the mat. So with that swimming, you're going to think about having your arms going, straight arms going up and down, and your legs going up and down. So little flutter kicks with your legs, same thing with your arms. We're going to do it one more time. You're going to reach your arms out in front. We're going to inhale, reach everything up, and then quick little breaths, inhale, exhale as you go up and down with your arms and up and down with your legs. 3, 2, and 1. Bring everything down. Awesome. We're going to come back into child's pose from here. So reach your hips back. Walk your hands forward so you have a nice stretch. Keep breathing while you're down in this child's pose. And then we'll come up out of there. We're going to turn back over. We're going to do what we call rolling like a ball. It's very fun. So you're going to take your hands underneath your knees here and sit on your sits bones here. And from here, we're going to lift up one leg and then the other. So we're on a little tilt here, a little slant. And from this position, remember how we articulated with our spine. As we exhale, we're going to lay down our lower back first, and then we're going to put our middle back down, and then our upper back. Okay, now we're down, we got to get back up. So you can use a little momentum here if you want, but the most important thing here is the breathing. You're going to inhale, and on the exhale, I'm going to roll back up and come up to that sitting position. So we can also, we're going to do this all in one motion instead of pausing down at the bottom there. So we inhale to prepare. On the exhale, put that lower back down, middle back, upper back, and then bring them back up in the same order. And see if you can hold your feet up off the floor when you do that. If that feels too hard, you can always keep your feet on the mat and just use your arms to help lower you back down. Your feet will move a little bit. And then you can let those legs drop to help pull you back up again. But if you want, you can stay in a tight ball here. We're going to do it 2 more times. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, lay that lower back down first. Upper back. Then come back up to the top. Hard when you get up to the top to keep yourself from, wobbling side to side. One more here. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower back, middle back, upper back. And then lift it back up, come up to the top. Stay in this position if you can. Take your arms out, and we're going to do some toe taps. So reach your right foot down, then your left, right, left, alternating. One more on each side. 1, and then 2. Good. And then you can put those feet down. Rolling like a ball, always a fun thing to do. We're going to do some planks here. So remember, there are a bunch of variations on planks. You can always do hands on the mat with your knees down. You can do elbows with your feet underneath you, or you can do hands on the mat with your feet tucked underneath you that way. Either way is fine. We're going to try doing 3 for 10 seconds each. So we'll start with whichever plank you decide. Let's get into the position you decide on. Let's get into that position. I'm going to do it with my hands and then my feet tucked underneath me. And when we get up into here, we come up into the plank. We're going to be here for 10 seconds. 9, 8, soften your elbows a little bit. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Then you can put those knees down. Some things to think about when you have your hands down, or even if you have your elbows down, is to think about pulling up away from your hands so that you're not leaning on your hands so much. So you're really using your core muscles to help hold you up. We're going to do it another time. We're going to do it 2 more times. So let's get into that plank position of your choice. Hands are right below your shoulders. We'll come up into that plank position. Here we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, I'm counting really slowly, 2, and 1. Good job. We're going to do 1 more here. So maybe mix it up in your plank position. If you've already tried one position, maybe try another one. We're going to do 1 more here. So come into that plank position that you choose. Bring those feet back, knees down, whichever way you go. We're coming up. Here we are for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We'll put that knee down. Awesome. We'll finish with a little stretching here. First, let's take those hands. So if you sit in a crisscross position, you can bring your hands behind you and open up your chest. Should feel like a nice stretch through those chest muscles we just used for planks. So you can keep that cross-legged position with your hands behind you. If cross-legged is too hard, you can go out to this position, which is actually where we're going to head next. So we'll take those legs out into a V position. Definitely keep your arms behind you if it feels like it's a tight position for you to hold. So that'll help keep your spine nice and straight and sitting up nice and tall if you have your hands behind you. If you're fine to do that on your own, that's fine too. We'll stay in that V position here. We can point and flex your feet a couple of times. Sorry, it's not the coronavirus, I promise. Although it doesn't matter because I'm at home by myself, but I think it's the spring allergies. And then from here, let's take the sole of your right foot inside of your thigh. Again, sitting up nice and straight. You can put your hands behind you if you want. A nice stretch through your hip. You might even feel that in your knee a little bit. If it feels too intense, you can always take that foot out a little bit instead of tucking it in. Great. And then we'll switch legs. We'll straighten that right leg and bring that left foot right up against your thigh. Or again, if that's too much, you can take it out. It's a little too much for me on this side, so I'm taking it away from my leg just a little bit. Hands can be behind you. Shoulders are still relaxed. Excellent. And we are going to finish with that today. Thanks so much for joining me. And I hope to see you again next time. And let's see how I can get